Fight fans, here we go. Introducing first, fighting under the red corner. He stepped to the ring tonight wearing the white trunks trimmed with gold. When he stepped onto the scale, he went officially at 163.3 pounds. As a professional, he has 11 fights to his credit, including 6 victories against 5 defeats. All 6 of his victories coming to you by way of KO. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us tonight from Baja California, Tijuana, Mexico, introducing Sergio the Phoenix Ramirez. And introducing his opponent, fighting across the ring out of the blue corner. He steps in the ring tonight wearing the white trunks with gold. When he steps onto the scale, he went in officially at 156.7 solid pounds. Tonight, he enters the ring undefeated. 4 wins with 0 losses. 2 of his victories coming to you by way of KO. Ladies and gentlemen, from Rancho Cucamonga, California, introducing Richard Kubrick Brewart. Once again, your referee in charge, Tony Cruz, to give the final instructions.
Tony Krebs, third man of the ring. Look at the tail of the tape for our co-feature tonight, Doug Fisher.
Yeah, Brewart is 6 years younger. He is 4 inches taller. Their reach is equal.
Beth Duran, Doug Fisher, and you. This is scheduled for 4 rounds, our co-feature tonight. As we are underway, they're both wearing white with some gold, and Brewer comes out aggressive right away with the white boots. He sells a lot of tickets. He's from Rancho Cucamonga. Doing it right in front of Mr. Ken Thompson, and founder of Thompson Boxing.
Yeah, he has the look of a fan favorite. He has the style of a fan favorite.
Repping the 951, very strong. Y saludos a todos que están mirando en Tijuana, amigo del Phoenix. Ramirez, ¿por qué le dicen el Phoenix?
I don't think Brewart had an extensive amateur career, and he's only 20, but he's more mature than his years, and his experience would suggest.
Started boxing at the age of 12 with Henry. Not that many amateur bouts. He'd go to some of the tournaments. Started taking it more serious as a teenager.
But you see the variety in his punches, the variety in his jab, the fact that he doesn't overcommit.
Yeah.
That he's not loading up with every shot. Keeps his poise. And that's a good thing for someone who's just 20 years old in his 5th pro bout.
Our man Francisco Salazar says Ramirez weighed 132 pounds when he fought Dutch over last year. 30 pounds less for Brewart.
Yeah, all you have to do is look at that gut hanging over the belt line of his trunks. Lets you know that Ramirez is not a natural middleweight.
Nope.
And I would argue that Brewart probably isn't a middleweight. If he weighed in at 156 and change, and he's just 20 years old.
47?
Yeah, well, no, that's probably going down too far, but he can get down to junior middleweight, 154 pounds.
Okay.
And he would probably be just as strong, maybe a little bit faster and sharper at that weight.
Joe Surratt, saludos, pero ¿qué es Avenue Phoenix? ¿Qué es eso?
What I like about Brewart is he's so focused.
Yeah. Good kid. You look at his Instagram, all about boxing.
He's always looking for his opponent to make a mistake, and he's always taking his opponent's measures, trying to figure out his opponent's style and rhythm so he can punch between his opponent's punches or anticipate his opponent's next punch and counter him even before he lets that punch go.
Rokas, I know what a Phoenix is, but I'm wondering why they call him that.
Maybe he just used to live there and then moved back to TJ. Said Arizona's not for me. I'm leaving Phoenix and going back to TJ.
Man, you never know. His name might really be Phoenix.
Yeah, right.
World Championship Boxing is back in the City of Angels with the return of the Superflies. April 26th at the famed LA Forum. Srisaket Solong Visai versus Juan Francisco Estrada in a rematch of their 2018 war. LA's Danny Roman faces off against Ireland's TJ Doheny in a world title unification. Jesse Vargas and Humberto Soto collide in an all-Mexican showdown. Plus, Scott Quigg, Anthony Sims Jr., and LA's teenage sensation Diego Pacheco. Tickets start at just $30 and can be purchased by visiting Ticketmaster.com.
Henry Ramirez in the corner. Richard Brewart Jr. Cool Breeze, the nickname. And I see you guys debating commentary, boxing commentary on the Facebook. Doug and I are going to sit this one out, but we do appreciate the compliments. Let's just tell you this, that Doug, I'll speak for myself, and I'm pretty sure you agree, that whenever we go into a fight, we've never been told an agenda. We've never been told what we should be talking about.
And we wouldn't listen to that anyways.
Exactly. Instant Boxing Pump for the Forum show next Friday. Danny Roman, who we know very well, is TJ Doheny, Soar, and Estrada. Doug's backyard of Inglewood.
Yeah, those highlights we saw of that show, that's an indication of the kind of matchups we're getting next Friday. I mean, with Soar Rungvisai and Estrada, that rematch, that's the best versus the best. That's high-quality stuff. That won't just be blood and guts. That's going to be elite-level boxing. It really will. And Roman Doheny, that might steal the show.
Hector Partida lets us know that Ramirez also does MMA. He goes from MMA to boxing.
I read that. I think that's what his background was. It's not like he was an amateur boxer. He was an MMA fighter who switched to boxing. And you've seen him fight at lightweight.
Yeah.
He was more aggressive as a lightweight, obviously, right? You know, I look at his record. He's won all 6 of his bouts by knockout. So I guess at one point he was more of a slugger. Yep. Somebody in there swinging.
And I'll tell you why he moved from MMA to boxing, because there's money in boxing. Simple as that. Having worked MMA shows and seen what some of the purses are, you can realize why this guy's going to fight as a boxer. Saludos a Jose Monchis. Gracias por el apoyo. Albert Baker wants to promote Under the Hand Wraps. And by the way, one of the best features out there on YouTube. I don't know why a promoter doesn't just hire you exclusively, Albert, to do the work you do with those drones. Great job as always. Go and check out Under the Hand Wraps.
Under the Hand Wraps.
Mark Abrams, great article in Ring Magazine on Ruben, Doug.
Yes, yeah, he was our New Faces feature for a recent magazine. And shout out to Mark Abrams, Philly's finest right there. You could tell Brewart is a thinking fighter, as he doesn't do the same thing over and over again. He's constantly changing things up, trying to find the right combination to land on his opponent's sweet spot.
That's the difference between the previous fighter, Louis Lopez, who is coming out slugging wide, going for the knockout every single time.
Right.
Same amount of fights.
Yeah, and
I don't. Different disciplines.
Yeah, it's a different temperament, and I don't want to knock Lopez's enthusiasm because you want to see that, but you don't want to see that enthusiasm work against a developing prospect.
Yeah, you shouldn't be bleeding against a journeyman.
Well, yeah. A journeyman
if you're doing things right.
Yeah, a journeyman who's not known for his power.
Saludos a Mexicali, Team Venado Lopez. Second round done. Mark Abrams says, thanks, Doug.
Well, Mark's the man. He's been around forever.
And who is he, for the people who don't know?
He's a publicist, but he's done our job. He's done some commentary. In fact, one of the best fights I've ever seen live, it involved Juan Francisco Estrada. It was basically his American debut and his entree into the world-class scene. He fought Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez at the Sports Arena.
Oh, I remember that
show. It was a junior flyweight title bout, it was underneath Brian Valoria
Brian
versus
Valoria.
Tyson Marquez.
Yeah, and that was a bout that was on a station nobody had ever heard of. Like,
the Wealth Network.
The Wealth Network.
Something like that. And Mark was part of the commentary team along with Larry Holmes, the
Really?
great former heavyweight champ. Absolutely, man. A lot of fun.
Doug, does Ring Magazine have any promos going on right now for subscriptions?
Does it?
Man, just pay the money, bro.
Just pay it. It's worth it.
You get
Go
Doug.
to ringtv.com. Click on subscribe. You get the digital edition, and you get the print edition.
Oh, that's where you get the digital.
Yeah. If you want just the digital, you can get that. And that's good for folks overseas, because sometimes it takes a while for these magazines to travel to Australia, you know.
Mark Abrams, what a card on Well TV, yeah. It was the first time, because my Nicaraguan friends were telling me, hey, there's a guy we gonna go see. I'm like, wait, Chocolatito?
Chocolatito.
And they're like, no, it's gonna be a great fight. I just wanted, because I want to go see Brian Valoria, having known Brian.
Right. Brian was in a good fight, too. That was 2 co-main events that really delivered.
Albert Baker says, Mark Abrams has one of the best email distributions in the business.
He does.
Mark, promote it then, if it is, so I can write it down so I can sign myself up. Larry Holmes commentating, that must have been good.
Yeah, Larry kept yelling out, I know this game! I know this game! He would say, like, okay, it looks like a fighter's getting ready to land a right cross, and the fighter landed a right cross. He'd be like, I told you! I know this game! It's hilarious.
I guess that's why Larry doesn't do many fights.
He doesn't do a lot of fights, but it was great to see him interact with the fans
Oh,
after
yeah.
the show.
Good shot landed by Brewart.
And LA fans had a lot of love for Larry.
Yeah, I'll say, as much as I rip on boxing fans for being crazy at times and delusional, they respect the fighters.
Well, especially the folks who actually pay
Yeah.
for a ticket to be there. You
Yeah.
know, folks online and in comment sections, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
some of
they're-
them are mentally ill, but yeah, you're right. For the most part, boxing fans are, I mean, they're
Loyal,
they're true
they're
blue
dedicated.
loyal, absolutely.
I mean-
Dedicated, that's a good word.
You could see, I mean, a Mexican guy who with 27-10, and they'll still be taking pictures with people.
That's true.
Good body
That's
shots.
that's a real boxing fan who can appreciate all levels of
Yeah.
fighter.
You still hear the stories of people. My dad took me to the Olympic, and I saw so-and-so, or the stories at the Forum, the Great Western Forum.
I like Brewart is mixing it up to the head and the body. Pretty much just doing single power shots, not putting together power punch combinations. And I think the way Brewart is, he likes to try to dissect his opponent, break him down.
Yeah.
I saw some interviews where he's saying, you know, it's fair to say that he had the highlight knockout of the first show of this year.
Yeah.
And he was telling people, I don't want to fall in love with my power or go out and look for that highlight knockout every time I fight. And that's a good mindset.
Not every fight ends up on Instagram.
Right.
Our main event, getting ready. Eric Ituarte going up against journeyman Jose Estrella, and Estrella is always a tough out. There's Hector Lopez in the back. Main event coming up next. They got sold out Doubletree in Ontario. Standing room only as I look around.
Save the fourth in final round.
Angel Diaz, Ring Magazine is the best, a yearly subscriber. Got my Madonna and Magazine autographed by Chino and Robert Garcia
Oh, that's great.
in Chicago. Appreciate you, Angel Diaz.
Thank you for the kind words.
Now tell a friend.
Or two.
Fourth and final round. Richard Brewart looks like he's trying to step on the gas here against Sergio Ramirez.
Ramirez has shown some tenacity. And a tough chin.
I'm not trying to make a joke, but I wonder if these are the trunks that Ramirez wears at 135.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. I think bigger trunks would have served him.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Because it was trouble finding an opponent for Brewart this week. 2 other opponents fell out. And Ramirez got the call and said, yeah, I'll jump in. And when you're on that third call, you know, you can ask a little bit more money.
That's true.
Because guys like Brewart, they want to have him fight because Brewart sold over 100 tickets.
Exactly, and he needs to be active. He's just 20 years old. He wants to finish this year with like 8 fights. Yep. You know what I mean? As long as he's healthy, fight to fight. He wants to climb that ladder.
Yep. I think they're going to move him up to 6 rounds pretty soon.
I think so. But anybody like looking at somebody like Ramirez and saying like, oh man, like, you know, why even put him in there with somebody like this? I tell you what, go to BoxRec and go to the record of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and see who he fought in his 5th pro bout. The guy named Kiko Rodriguez, whose record was 9-9-2. And a lot of people say that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is the best ever.
51-0.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I don't agree with that, but here's the thing. Mayweather was an elite amateur boxer. He was an Olympic bronze medalist. You know, came up in a boxing family. Like literally knew how to throw combinations before he could walk steady, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even he had a developmental period.
It takes a
when
while.
he first turned pro, so you shouldn't expect these young guys who had just a handful of amateur bouts to be fighting King Kong in their 5th and 6th pro bouts.
Albert Baker, yeah, I'll take the fight. Yeah, I got trunks.
Yep.
Francisco Salazar, those are the trunks he got knocked out by Dechover.
Oh, gosh.
Hey,
so they're not his lucky trunks.
No. And that'll do it. 4 rounds. Good round. Good work experience for Richard Brewart Jr. for
I
Cool
agree.
Breeze.
Just my 2nd time seeing
I like
Brewart
him.
fight live. Yeah, and so the first time we saw him, we saw the power, we saw the timing and accuracy, and a highlight reel knockout. The second time, we see the discipline. We see the technique. We see the boxing ability.
And he's a guy who I think when he gets to the 8-round level, those rounds, he could chop down somebody, work at it.
That's his temperament, is dissect his opponent. I can tell you that.
Hey, Henry, you like Brewart tonight? You like the way Brewart looked? He's all right? The first round? So Henry's telling us that Brewart got hit in the back of the head in the second. He was a little dizzy.
And that's the kind of thing that we as commentators miss. That's something that even referees miss. Certainly fans will miss it because it looks like an inconsequential punch. But even like a grazing shot to the back of the head can sometimes throw a fighter's equilibrium off or make them feel sick to their stomach, and, you know.
But that's also something that
you got to learn how to deal with, right?
Learn how to deal with as you progress in rounds.
That's right.
Oh, Doug, you opened up a Mayweather now.
Oh. Okay, I'll throw Bernard. I'll bring up Bernard Hopkins, one of my favorite fighters, a fighter who I do think is an all-time great. Bernard Hopkins fought a guy named Jovin Mercado in his 5th pro bout. Mercado's record was 1-1. And Hopkins was a mature fighter. That fight, if you go to YouTube and type in Bernard Hopkins' 5th fight, that fight is on YouTube. It's excellent.
Sonny Franco, he's always excellent.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 4 rounds of boxing, to the judges' scorecards we go for the official decision. All 3 judges, Carla Caiz, Fernando Villarreal, and Max DeLuca all see about the same, 36-40, all in favor of your winner by unanimous decision. And still undefeated from Rancho Cucamonga, California, Richard Cooper.